we are going to look at one of the most shocking, reckless, and dangerous examples of police driving in emergency mode that I've ever seen. We're going to look at this raw dashcam footage from the Deland Police Department in Florida. And as of the publishing of this video, this will be the first and only place you'll see this. It took me a long time and a lot of fighting to get this video, and after watching it, I see why. They didn't want me to see it because they didn't want you to see it. And there's a whole big story with that we'll go over later. Aside from the reckless and dangerous display of driving, you're going to see this officer commit a hit and run, which he later lied about. When I finally received this video and I viewed it for the first time, it was shocking, suspenseful, and unbelievable. You're going to see video of a cop not only doing a hit and run, but putting everybody in the community at risk as he responds to another officer in a foot pursuit. So first, I'm going to let the reckless portion of this video play out for you to see for yourself, and then we'll go through it again and break it down. And I'll point out any of the things you might have missed and give you some more details. You are looking at in-car dash cam inside a Ford Taurus marked Deland police car, driven by Officer Chris Renda. Something important to keep in mind as you watch this video is this is roughly 2:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. Unfortunately, Renda is also listening to some very strange music very loud in the vehicle, so I've got to mute the audio. All you're losing there is some sirens and radio chatter that you can't understand. He just got information via radio that another officer is in a foot pursuit with someone, so he's on his way. Lights and siren are activated. We can also notice that it's recently rained, as the roads appear to be fairly wet. And remember, police vehicles in emergency response mode are required to stop and clear intersections like red lights and stop signs, things like that. Keep that in mind. They're also required to get there safely. Some traffic laws can be disregarded, but they cannot be reckless. It almost looks a couple times like he might start to lose control of the vehicle from weaving and taking corners on these wet roads. We're about to see a sign that indicates there's a stop sign ahead. There it is. Let's see how this officer safely navigates this intersection with a stop sign. There it goes. Didn't even slow down. Came across in the oncoming lane. And that's by far not even the worst of this display. We'll be coming into a school zone here on a weekday at about the time elementary school is getting out. We are into the school zone, and he doesn't seem to be showing regard for the potential children either. Just now leaving the school zone. He sure got through that quick. We're going to go back over this with some detail, but here's some suspense. Coming through a red light here with an 18-wheeler coming through. I don't know how he did that. Comes over into oncoming traffic. He got insanely lucky there. He's about to take a right on a residential street up here. He's going to go way too wide. Thank God no kid on a bike or another car was there. He's going to go all the way across into the grass and hit that car. And probably now he's going to at least stop and leave a note, right? Nope. Officer Renda is continuing about his way. We're going to have a closer look at all of that in a minute. We'll run back through the video and break it down. I don't know how he survived long enough to hit that vehicle, but he did really significant damage to it, according to the owner of the vehicle. And it's not possible that he didn't know he hit it. If he actually didn't know, he shouldn't be driving a car at all, let alone a police car. Now here he's slowing down a bit now because it appears he's not exactly sure where he's going. He kind of buzzes in and out of these side streets, turns his lights and siren on and off at different points, trying to figure out where he's going. And he is fairly new. He's still on probation. Just a couple months before this, he had another at-fault crash where he reportedly totaled a vehicle and a citizen's vehicle. So at this point, he's much less reckless, and he's kind of just slowly trying to figure out where the hell he is, looking for the scene. And from here, he does manage to get to the scene without causing any more damage or putting any more people at risk for the most part. So now we're going to go back to the beginning of this, and we'll do the kind of play-by-play. And I'm sure some of you have already been in the comments with your shock. But we're going to point out some fine details that you might have missed, and talk about what played out after this, and how the whole thing was lied about, and potentially, not certainly, but potentially, some signs of things being hidden by the department. But I'll leave you to form your own opinions on that. I wish I could play the audio for you so you can hear what the hell music he's listening to, because WTF. It's so weird and odd and funny that I thought for a second that it might have been added by the department to be funny or something. So he's just heard on the radio that another cop is chasing somebody on foot. Whole bunch of other cops are going too, but he's going to find his way. He's going to take a left here. Like we said, the roads are wet. It's recently rained. And thankfully, for the sake of everybody else that's on this road, this first intersection he's coming up to, he's got the green light, so he takes a right here. Not too bad. Like I said, he's got lights and siren activated. And remember, like I mentioned before, he's already had a recent at-fault crash in a police vehicle. So his speeds are up here, and this road is pretty windy and wet. It looks a couple times like he's not doing so good at staying on the road. I mean, he does it, but a little risky. He'll be coming up on a four-way stop where he's got a stop sign that he should stop and clear it. But as we saw, that's not what he's going to do. But let's look at this. So yes, he's got lights and siren, and we've got 3 vehicles already at the intersection. And if you consider his speeds, it's very possible one of these vehicles could have looked both ways and there was nothing there. By the time they proceed, there he is, because he didn't bother to slow down to make sure it's safe before he blows through. So either one of these vehicles, this one or that one, could have very easily and innocently proceeded through the intersection as they had the right-of-way. By the time they saw the police vehicle, it might have been too late because, like I said, he didn't slow down. We also noticed that he's in the wrong lane now. He's in the lane of oncoming traffic. And on the other side of that intersection, there's a vehicle traveling towards him in the lane that he now occupies. So he's going to have to get around this truck on the right, swerve back into his lane to avoid hitting that vehicle on the wet roads, all without reducing his speeds. And luck or something is with him. It looks like he got a little wobbly there too, but he made it through. Or I suppose luck was with the citizens in the other vehicles. But now here comes the active school zone. And yes, it applies to the police too. He knows the area, but our first indication of a school zone is this sign right here. Yet he's going to remain reckless and weave in between these 2 vehicles as he enters this active school zone. Further proof that it's an active school zone, if we slow this down and look closely, you can see the yellow light flashing on the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit sign for the school zone that he seems to be ignoring. But if that wasn't enough, here's one of the cones in the middle of the road, as one of many things that are always in place in a school zone to let people know, let the drivers know, that they need to slow down, that kids are in the area and will be crossing the street. But wait, there's more. If we look over here, we can see the crossing guard, showing that all of the school zone indications are in place, as this cop blasts through this school zone. I'm sure many people will find this angering, as he shows absolutely no regard for the public or even the children. But he's speeding to another scenario where he got insanely lucky, and this is just absolute stupidity. He's coming up on another red light. He's going to blow right through this one too, but there's an 18-wheeler flatbed going through its green light. And the cop, for some reason, doesn't appear to even slow. And the road he's about to attempt to cross by running the red light is a pretty busy state road, especially at this time of day. So the police car is going this direction, right towards the big truck that's going up this road. Now notice that intersection is somewhat of a blind intersection. So vehicles traveling on the road that he's about to cross, those vehicles who have a green light, would really have no way to tell that a police car or emergency vehicle was coming through the intersection. They would rely on that emergency vehicle stopping to make sure it's safe. Now I'm going to have to pause it one more time here to point this out. I don't know if he had a death wish or what. This is just absolutely stupid. Again, doesn't look like he slowed. It looks like he's just hoping that he can time it on these wet roads, that truck will have enough time to fully pass and he can swerve around the left side of it, where he will then be in oncoming traffic, hope he doesn't hit whoever's there, and regain control back in his own lane. But think about this too. If there had been another vehicle traveling on the same road but the opposite direction that the big truck is traveling, the truck would be obscuring the view of the police car that's barreling through the intersection recklessly, so they would think nothing of continuing through their green light until they are met with the metal twisting and crunching sounds of colliding with a police car. Not to mention any vehicles that might be traveling behind that truck. He takes no time to check. But let's have a look at it one more time without the interruptions, so we can fully grasp the magnitude of the stupidity displayed here. Just absolutely unbelievable. He regains control again, lucky on these wet roads, Now he's looking to make a right over here somewhere. And we're going to slow it down so you can see as he takes this turn way too fast and way too wide. He's going to go off into the grass on the other side of the road, watch the car move as he hits it, and just continues on his way. And we'll look at that one more time in regular speed as we remember how lucky the people are that weren't driving or walking or riding a bicycle on that road as this cop came barreling around the corner so fast and recklessly that he couldn't even stay on the road and hit the parked car parked on the other side of the road in the grass. And here's where he adds insult to stupidity. He proceeded to the call that was being handled by everybody else who was already on scene. And they were there for a little while. They made an arrest, I guess, of the guy that was running away from them. I'm pretty sure he got there after all of the excitement. But being the rookie, being the new guy, he's the one that got stuck with transporting the prisoner. So they put the bad guy in his police car. They were there on scene for a while, then eventually transported the guy to the police department in this police car, of which we are watching the dashcam footage. And right now you're looking at that ride back to the police department with his prisoner. Now when they get there, he'll hold the prisoner in his vehicle for a while the arresting officer does the paperwork. But about 3 hours after that reckless driving by that cop and that hit and run, at about 5:30 that afternoon, the homeowner noticed what had happened. I spoke to the homeowner. He said that was his grandson's vehicle who had parked it over there visiting. Well, they noticed that some jerk apparently had crashed right into it and left the scene. So what'd they do? They called the Deland Police Department, of course, to report it. Now, this call came out while they were at the department waiting for that paperwork to be done. They gave the address of the hit and run and said that they came out and found that an unknown vehicle had crashed into their car. Well, according to the report, Officer Renda allegedly then oddly offered the information, hey, I drove up that road on my way to that call and I didn't see anything and I sure didn't hit anything. Other cops, being trained investigators, thought that was odd because no one asked him if he hit anything. No one asked him if he had seen anything. So it was a little bit fishy. What some investigators might call a clue. Because of this random uttered statement, they said, you sure you didn't hit anything? He said, yeah, I don't remember hitting anything. Now we saw that he did hit something. And it's a guilty mind that was making him speak up like that. A guilty, dishonest mind, because he knew. There's no way you could do that and not know. So they thought that was odd, but carried on. A short time later, a neighbor of the hit and run victim came over to his house. He told the victim, hey, did you call the police there? I saw what happened. He told him a police car came around that corner, smashed right into your car and kept on going. The victim was like, what? Are you sure? He said, yeah, man, I'm positive. Watched it happen. This police car came flying down the road, took that turn super wide, went right off the road and smashed right into your car. I heard the crash and I saw the car move. So the victim called the police department back again and gave him the updated information. Because everybody was busy, this call was still pending. The sergeant told him just to hold the call until someone's available. But with this new information, dispatch called the sergeant over the radio and said, hey, you might want to look at the new updates to that pending hit and run call. The supervisor looked at the updates. Being a trained investigator, he saw this as another clue that he immediately matched up with the statements uttered by Officer Renda. So they went back to the officer. They said, hey, remember when it was really weird when that call came out? You just randomly said you didn't see anything or hit anything? Are you sure you didn't hit anything? He said, no, not that I remember. Nope, not that you remember, huh? Here's something to think about too. Many people don't have uninsured motorist coverage because it's pretty expensive. And especially these days, people are broke. So if you're the victim of a hit and run and you don't have that coverage, you eat it. You're on your own. If you want that vehicle repaired, you have to pay for it. And here we have a cop who was perfectly willing to stick a citizen in that position. Surely because he didn't want to get in trouble because he had just recently crashed a car. So for his stupidity, an innocent citizen is going to suffer. And if it wasn't for that neighbor who witnessed it, that's exactly what would have happened. But the supervisor decided to go over and look at Officer Renda's vehicle, and he found damage to the right front. And then they went to the victim's house and looked at the victim's vehicle, saw the damage on the driver's side, and the damage lined up. It matched up. It was the police vehicle that the witness had seen. Now, because they can't do their own crash report, the Florida Highway Patrol was called in to do the crash report. Here's where it gets a little more fishy, or maybe coincidental. I'll let you decide. Hit it up in the comments. The Deland Police Department told FHP that there's no video available. They said they tried to access it and they just couldn't get it. They also gave Officer Renda merely a written reprimand for leaving the scene of a crash. They said the same thing, just no video, we couldn't get it. And that's all he got. He got no citations for the crash, nothing. He was also on probation. He was new, like I mentioned. And it's my opinion, especially with having a previous crash not long before this, that display of driving, that recklessness, that would be immediate termination, especially if you're on probation. But if they claim there's no video, well, then they can't claim that they know about it, right? So he got off with basically nothing. Now, some inside sources started telling me that the video does exist, that they're lying about it. A couple people claimed that they had seen it, and it's bad, and told me I had to fight for it. Don't give up. Get that video, they said. For months, I tried to get that video, and I finally got it, as you just saw. And here's a plot twist. Officer Renda, like I said, he got no citations, not criminally charged with anything, just that write-up. Until the very moment that they gave me that video. They fired him and gave me the video at the exact same time. We've seen on this channel lots of fishy things from the Deland Police Department, and a lot of things that they claim are just coincidence. But it seems to me that by releasing that video to me, like they are legally required, they knew the public was going to see it. And they knew the public would be pretty upset with what they saw, especially since he's still out there driving a police car and didn't even get a slap on the wrist. They knew they would get calls and they would get emails, and people would say, how the hell is this guy still a cop? But now they can say, oh no, we let him go. But just know, they didn't do it until months later, without any new incident that I'm aware of. Coincidentally, at the exact same time, they gave me that video. Definitely share your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this. Stay tuned. There's already a follow-up to this video you'll want to see. And I'm not going to say too much because I know they watch these videos and I don't want to tip my hat to what's coming next. But as always, it's nothing nefarious, just the right thing, which is all I ever look for. Stay tuned for that. In the meantime, check out some other videos, especially Deland PD. I got a whole playlist dedicated to the Deland Police Department. Make sure you are subscribed. You hit that notification button so you can be the first to know when the next part comes out.